A once unshakable CEO watches his empire crumble until a fearless driver dares to challenge not just his authority, but his entire way of thinking. What begins as defiance soon sparks a transformation that reshapes lives, legacies, and the future of a luxury brand. Sit back, feel every emotion, and enjoy a story of courage, redemption, and the power of unheard voices. Our sales are dropping by the hour, Gabriel snapped. You promised you knew what you were doing, that the new reform would fix everything, but clearly you're clueless. As of tomorrow, you're no longer the head of the team. Gabriel, a tall, polished, middle-aged CEO of a luxury bag company, sat stiffly in the back seat of his sleek black car. His voice echoed with frustration. Just as his assistant, Jerry, reached for the opposite door, Gabriel raised a hand without looking. Don't get in. I need to think. Find your own way to the office. At the front, Elena, his longtime driver, a composed, dark-skinned woman with quiet strength, adjusted the rearview mirror. Her eyes narrowed, her expression silently judging everything he'd just said. Unbothered, Gabriel dialed another number. Hello? Yes, I know the ratings are low, but I'm telling you, this new collection is going to take the market by storm. People just need time to adjust and see the real beauty. A low murmur came from the front seat. Elena hadn't meant to interrupt, but it slipped out. Gabriel paused, annoyed. Could you keep it down, Tracy? He muttered. Elena rolled her eyes, boldly and unapologetically. Their gazes locked in the mirror. She knew he saw it, but she didn't care. Not anymore. She was done. You clearly have something to say, he said coldly. Nothing, boss. No, you do. And since you're getting fired today, you might as well say what's on your mind. You won't fire me. I know that, sir. Excuse me? He shot back. Yeah, I said, I know you won't fire me. Elena replied, calm and firm. I've opened those car doors for you every day for over 3 years, and you still can't get my name right. But I've known you long enough to know when you're bluffing. The silence hung thick as the car pulled up in front of the towering glass building, 40 stories tall, planted in the heart of the city. Without a word, Gabriel stepped out, his fury barely contained. He tossed his briefcase at Jerry, who stumbled to catch it, the weight of the morning crashing down harder than ever. Meeting after meeting, face after face, Gabriel sat through it all, surrounded by teams of employees delivering the same tired lines he'd heard 1,000 times. Same hollow enthusiasm, same fearful eyes like lost puppies, begging not to be kicked. His anger was unmistakable. Gabriel never hid his fury. He tore apart every presentation, dismissed every idea, and crushed every suggestion with barely veiled contempt. None of it was good enough. To him, they weren't a team. They were a cast, reciting the same script, afraid to ad-lib. Their lips moved, but their hearts screamed something else entirely. And Gabriel saw through all of it. He was bored. He was furious. He wanted the day to end. As he slumped into his leather chair, one face kept returning to his mind. The driver. How dare she speak to him that way? Even if she hadn't said anything overtly wrong, she had said everything wrong. The very fact that she spoke at all was the offense. What changed? Where did that sudden boldness come from? What was she trying to say? It lingered. It ate at him. A bitter voice whispered in his mind. I can't run a sinking company and deal with insubordinate staff. He slammed the intercom button. Get me my assistant. Seconds later, Jerry stepped in. Yes, sir? That driver, Helen. You mean Elena, sir. Whatever her name is, I want her gone. By the time I step out this evening. Jerry hesitated. Okay, sir. He didn't ask why. He didn't dare. He liked his job far too much to end up on the next name of Gabriel's firing list. Gabriel was confident, commanding, and obsessed with precision. He was sharp, stylish, and always certain that his way was the right way. He paid his staff the highest salaries in the industry, but in return he demanded perfection, vision, passion, loyalty. To him, it was simple. Believe in the dream or leave. But somehow, no one ever truly seemed to get it. As Jerry reached for the door handle, Gabriel's thoughts refused to quiet. That lingering curiosity only grew louder. What was she going to say? Why now? "You know what, Jerry?" Gabriel called out suddenly. "Don't bother. I'll handle it myself." Jerry paused, nodding quickly, almost too relieved to speak. After all, no one liked looking someone in the eye just to take away their job, especially not when he thought the real reason was most likely failing to meet an employer's impossible standards. Gabriel rushed down to the car, half hoping Elena had quit. Maybe she'd decided to preserve her self-respect and leave without a word. That quiet confidence she carried always unsettled him. It wasn't loud or arrogant, but it challenged him all the same. Her eyes never held fear, and he hated that. But there she was, standing by the door, steady as ever, ready to open it for him. Maybe she's waiting to apologize, he thought. He stepped in. Silence. No murmuring, no attitude, just silence. For a moment he felt victorious, but then he glanced at the rearview mirror. Her eyes met his. Same calm defiance, same quiet strength. Still no fear. He turned to his right. Jerry was seated beside him, stiff, still in assistant mode, waiting for instruction. Gabriel turned slightly. "I don't need you any further. Get off here." "Excuse me, sir?" Jerry blinked. "You said I needed to accompany you to your house to collect—" "I know what I said. And now I'm saying this. The only thing I need you to do right now is get out of this vehicle. Go home." Jerry didn't argue. Elena pulled over. He stepped out without hesitation. The doors shut with a muted thud. Now it was just Gabriel and Elena. He sighed. "You were right. You're still here. Not fired. Fine. You don't want to tell me what was on your mind. That's your right. But can I ask you one thing?" He leaned forward slightly. "How were you so sure? So confident that I wouldn't fire you? How did you know how I think? Am I really that predictable?" Elena smirked faintly, eyes still on the road. "I've spent years in this car, listening in silence, and in all that silence I learned something. You need control. You feed off it. Every decision, every reaction, you need to be in charge. Your employees, they don't push back because they know you don't like being challenged, so they keep their heads down." She paused, then added, "If I'd spoken my mind, you'd have fired me. If I'd apologized, same outcome. But the one thing I know about you, you're driven by passion and curiosity. You need to understand what threatens your sense of control. That's why I didn't say anything. I knew it would haunt you until you figured it out." Gabriel let out a deep laugh, one of genuine amusement. "You got that right. I spent the entire day wondering." A small, knowing smile tugged at Elena's lips. And that, right there, was the beginning of something neither of them expected. A strange, sharp-edged bond. A friendship forged in silence, pride, and the need to be understood. Nothing ever seemed to change at Polly anymore. And that was what frustrated Gabriel the most, watching something he'd poured his soul into for decades slowly unravel. He had worked tirelessly, relentlessly, passionately, but still, the fall was happening right before his eyes. Once, nearly 2 decades ago, Polly was the pinnacle of luxury. The best-selling high-end bag company, a name whispered in fashion circles with awe. It had been his empire. Now, Gabriel climbed into the back seat of his car again, withdrawn, weary, a shadow of the man who once ruled boardrooms with fire in his eyes. His face was different. The ambition that used to sharpen every line in his expression was dull now, fading. His eyes were tired, his posture sunken. He never used to look down, never used to let anyone see defeat on his face. Elena glanced at him through the rearview mirror. "Today's clearly a bad day," she said quietly. "Yes, it is. Henrietta," he replied flatly. "It's still Elena," she shot back. And for the first time that day, they both laughed. It wasn't long or loud, but it was real. Something rare in Gabriel's world. "I'll tell you why I murmured that day," Elena said after a pause. "What I had on my mind." Gabriel looked up slowly, eyes on her reflection. "I was tired of the way you spoke to your managers," she continued, voice steady but not disrespectful. "With every harsh word, you slowly kill something inside them. You don't even see it, but I do. Jerry doesn't even breathe a suggestion unless it aligns with the exact same vision you had for Polly 20 years ago. But times have changed, Gabriel, and with time, fashion has evolved. Everything has." Silence. Then his voice came, sharp again, defensive, almost wounded. "You have no right to tell me that. Who do you think you are? Polly is a multi-million-dollar company I built from the ground up," he snapped. "I made it into one of the top 5 luxury brands in the world. And you think someone who drives a car for a living, someone who turns a wheel every day, can tell me about fashion?" The silence was heavy again, cold. He didn't wait for her to respond. "I don't want to see you here by this evening. Hand the keys over to my assistant." Gabriel stormed out of the car, frustration pulsing through every step. Without warning, he hurled his briefcase toward Jerry, his assistant, who, by now, had grown used to being collateral damage in his boss's fury. Meeting after meeting, pitch after pitch, it was all the same. But this time, Elena's words wouldn't stop echoing in his mind. "You need to realize that times have changed, and with time changing, so has fashion, and everything else." He sat at the head of the boardroom, shoulders stiff, jaw clenched, his eyes locked on the presentation screen. Crocodile leather bags. Again, different prints, slightly tweaked textures, but still the same. Same shape, same weight, same feel. He let the voices around him fade, buzzing faintly in the background like white noise. He barely heard them anymore. Nothing they were saying was new. Then, something pierced the fog. A voice, timid, hesitant, emerged in the final moments of a presentation. "I'm sorry, sir, but if only we could change the sizes just a little bit. Something smaller, maybe it would resonate more with younger—" Gabrielle cut him off sharply. "What are you sorry for?" The room froze. The speaker, a junior designer no one ever really listened to, looked panicked. "Sorry, sir, I didn't mean it that way. The sizes are perfect. I just thought—" "You shouldn't apologize for being confident," Gabrielle said, voice low but firm. "Do it. Make the changes. Bring me another presentation." He looked around the room, eyes now alive with something new. "All of you, go back to your drawing boards, and this time, don't give me safe. Don't give me what I've already seen. Give me different. Give me real." The room went dead silent, eyes wide. No one moved. Gabrielle, the man who'd clung to his designs like gospel for 20 years, had just opened the door to change, and something in him had shifted. As soon as Gabrielle left the office, he moved fast, something rare for him. He wasn't walking with his usual grace or composed elegance. He was chasing something. Maybe she's still around, he thought. Maybe she knows me well enough by now to call my bluff. But she was gone. He scanned the parking lot. Empty. No sign of the car. No sign of her. He grabbed his phone and called his assistant. "We need to find Helen," he barked. "Who's Helen?" "The driver," Gabrielle snapped. "Oh, you mean Elena?" "Yes, where is she?" Jerry tried calling her cell multiple times, no answer. He found her address, though. Without another word, Gabrielle rushed into the driver's seat himself and started the engine. Jerry was left stunned. Mr. Gabrielle, always in control, always chauffeured, always pristine, was now behind the wheel, driving like a man with no plan, just purpose. They reached her neighborhood, modest and quiet. He knocked on the door. It opened slowly. A boy, autistic, around 10, stood there, wide-eyed and curious. "Mummy, someone's at the door," he called inside. Elena appeared a moment later, rushing down the hall. She froze at the sight of Gabrielle on her porch, his expression human, soft, even a little broken. He looked like a man who had just met the full weight of his ego. "He called you Mummy," Gabrielle said, still surprised. "Yeah," she replied gently. "That's my son." She stepped aside and invited him in. Her living room was small, but warm. Jerry, sensing the moment, offered to take the boy outside to play. Inside, Gabrielle sat on the edge of her worn couch, uncertain. "You never told me you had a son," he said. "You never asked," she replied without venom, just honesty. "You couldn't even get my name right," she added, "let alone care to know anything about me." He looked down. "Elena." She turned. The sound of her name spoken correctly made her pause. Not just the word, but how he said it, like it mattered. "You're incredibly intelligent," he continued. "There were times I wondered if you were living up to your full potential. I never had the courage to ask the right questions." His voice softened. "Is your son, is he the reason you left school?" Elena nodded slowly. "Reg is my angel. I made mistakes in college, young, reckless. I should have known every choice has consequences. When I found out I was pregnant, I couldn't bring myself to end it. My dad promised to help, so I tried to stay in school. But then he fell seriously ill. Couldn't take care of himself, let alone a child who needed more attention than most." She glanced toward the window, where Reg was now smiling outside with Jerry. "I dropped out to work. Needed money to give him what he needed, and to be what he needed. I don't regret it, but it cost me." Gabrielle was quiet for a moment, then leaned forward. "You can still live up to your full potential. When you're ready. There are a few internship positions at Poly. The interviews are next month." She smiled faintly. "I appreciate that. But it's too late for me. I can't intern. The pay, the time, I don't think Reg and I could manage it." He looked at her, his tone firmer but still kind. "Only you can stop you, Elena. You have so much courage, but not enough to face your own regrets. And trust me, that's the real challenge." She said nothing, but something in her chest stirred. Not hope, not yet, but maybe the start of it. Polly's new bag collection launched to overwhelming acclaim. It was the talk of the media. The first batch sold out within a week. For the first time in years, Gabriel saw the spark he had nearly lost. He realized their previous designs had mostly appealed to middle-aged women, understandably so, as the style had been rooted in the era when he first founded the company 2 decades ago. But this new collection was different. It resonated with all ages. It was bold, fresh, yet still carried the signature elegance of Poli. The original designs weren't discarded. Instead, Gabriel rebranded them as rare vintage pieces, reserved only for special occasions. Their exclusivity made them even more valuable, with only a limited number left in circulation. As sales soared and the company's value climbed once more, Gabriel often found himself sitting quietly in his office, looking out over the city skyline, not with pride alone, but with gratitude. He had kept his legacy alive because of Elena. A month later, something unusual happened. Gabriel attended the intern interviews in person. He had never done that before, but this time he hoped to see her there. He scanned the list and smiled. Her name was on it, Elena. As much as he wanted her to succeed, he knew he didn't need to pull any strings. She earned her place. When her turn came, she pitched bold, innovative marketing and branding strategies, concepts the company had never considered. Though Poli had always reserved internships for graduates, Elena's brilliance challenged that norm. Gabriel realized it was time to stop hiring just by degrees and start hiring by passion. That year, Poli opened its doors to non-graduate interns for the first time, and 6 months later, Elena became a full-time staff member. She enrolled in a degree program and, for the first time, could afford to place Tony in a specialized school for children with autism. One evening, Gabriel invited her to dinner, not as a boss to a driver, but as a friend to someone who had helped him rediscover vision. This time, they didn't meet in the reflection of a rear-view mirror. They sat face to face, two people who had challenged each other, grown together, and helped reshape a legacy.